Okay, so. Okay, can y'all see my screen?
Yep.
Very good. So what, and this looks a lot cleaner on an iPad because it encompasses like the whole screen.
Okay.
Let me make sure that everything. I just put it on my Mac, so I want to make sure that all the things are populating correctly. Looks like everything's working. Yep, no. Yeah, there might be some things that are a little funky here because I just pulled this from the cloud from my iPad where it was built to my Mac. So things are a little different. So if something doesn't look, hopefully it doesn't look too grossly inappropriate, but there may be some slides that aren't pulling through the way they should, but on your iPad, it'll work perfectly and seamlessly.
Okay.
Okay, so we are talking about the in-home sales presentation, just setting the stage here since we are recording it. It does encompass commitment to trust and commitment to resolution, and that's what we're going to go through now. So again, like we talked about, as we're on this screen, you know, we need to do a segue. So, hey, folks, you know, the next step here, we're going to go over some information that we've compiled in our 32 years that's extremely valuable for you. As far as an education and an information standpoint, in order to, you know, to make this decision, you know, the best decision possible for you and your home, regardless if you, you know, that decision is with us or with another company. So there's some really good information here that we're going to share with you. You know, at any point in time, if there's some information here that we touch on that you're like, man, that's some really good stuff. You want to, you know, camp out on that. We'll sit there as long as you need until all your questions are answered. And on the flip side, if you see something or we're talking about something that you're kind of like, maybe you don't think it applies or it's not relevant, let me know and we'll breeze right through it. Okay. So that's our transition to this presentation. Okay.
Okay.
Now here's an important thing. Whoops, that wasn't supposed to happen. Here's an important thing that we need to be sensitive to is, you know, again, if you're showing pictures and that, you could be over here talking to be like Charlie Brown, right? So you need to realize that if you're showing them some pictures, they may be like dead focused on that. So maybe you want to give them time to absorb it a little bit before you start saying anything of its significance. Otherwise, they're not even going to comprehend it, right? Because they're looking at the pictures and the colors of the floor, and you know what I'm saying? So be sensitive to that and don't steamroll somebody as you're going through this because they're doing an audio thing with you, but they're also doing a visual thing. And you got to be sensitive to that. Otherwise, you're going to lose half your message because they're not going to retain it because they're visually checking things out. Okay. So you got to be sensitive to that when you're doing something like this. Okay. So we did our segue. This is our company story page. So I'll just say, we'll just do John since you're right there. John, you know, this company has been doing what we do in the home improvement industry for 32 years. Now, you know, the way this company started, our steward or founder, his name is Scott Barr. He really doesn't have a passion for home improvement. His passion lies in connecting ideas and people. And 32 years ago, he was a project manager for the prior company, which was called Southwest Remodelers. He got an investor together and he said, you know, he'd been in the industry for a while. He'd been in real estate and things like that. And had spent, you know, some time in home improvement. And he saw all the craziness, all the nonsense that was going on in this industry. I mean, people just being lied to and basically just stolen blind from these contractors. And he said, you know what? He had a vision of making things different and creating a home improvement company that didn't function in that way. So he got that investor together. He bought the company, Southwest Remodelers, in 1989, changed it to Southwest Exteriors. And that's how we exist today. He started bringing great people into every fold of the organization that had a deeper sense of purpose, that had a higher sense of integrity, and that they really, every morning when they got their head up off the pillow, they wanted to do something different for people. So he started bringing people like that into the organization in all functional areas, and really started to build a team of people that could help him carry out this vision. And that's really how we've existed today, is by doing the right thing no matter what, is by putting the client first, and at no time, making the company the priority, but making our clients and the people we serve in San Antonio the priority. And any questions? So is there any questions that you have on that?
Nope.
And then we transition.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a solid intro to a presentation for sure.
Yeah, I mean, think of where we are, right? Don't lose sight of where we're at in the methodology. We're in commitment to trust. Okay. And I think in the future, just because Scott's name is all over the radio, what I envision in our updated presentations, that's another thing I got on my plate, is we might hire, it's super expensive, but it's ridiculous. Like this is good. Like we get comments in our presentation all the time, but where we could go with somebody, paying somebody to do it, would be next level. I mean, it would be high production value. So in the future, I think what I'll probably do is record Scott giving a little 2-minute company story, because people hear his voice on the radio all the time. And, we're getting more, look at YouTube. I mean, we're getting more and more inclined to audio and video that's press play, right? So that's in the future. In the meantime, the next month or so, we're still doing it, with our voice. But that's what's kind of in my head, and as far as my vision moving forward. Okay, so we did company story. Whoop, slow down. Now, our company was built, I shouldn't say it was built. I'll be honest. 32 years, we've done a lot of things wrong, but we've also done a lot of things right. And these 4 C's, which now are the foundational components of our company, these 4 C's have been evolved through the course of 32 years of serving clients in San Antonio. And they're super important. They are the most important thing when we look at how our company is run today. So those 4 C's are communication, which means we promise to communicate accurately and often throughout your entire experience with us. Just that one thing alone, honestly, can resolve 80% of the problems that come about in the home improvement industry. In general, there's very poor communication in the home improvement industry. So our commitment to you is that we're going to communicate accurately and often throughout your entire experience with us. Second thing is cleanliness. We know, when we go to somebody's home, it's their home, but it's also a job site. And we have to be considerate of both things. So our commitment is when we leave, your property is going to be just as clean, if not cleaner, than when we showed up. The third thing is compassion. And to us, that's a big thing. We are a faith-based company. So this does mean a little bit more to us. And some people are like, compassion, what does that have to do with home improvement? Well, for us, it means everything, because, basically what it means for us is that we put you first and understand your situation before we seek to understand our own. Okay, so when it comes to resolving issues that, it is construction, it's not a perfect science. When it comes to resolving issues, when it comes to being considerate of your schedule, we put you first and we're the second ones. So that's what compassion means to us. And the fourth thing is craftsmanship. Now, obviously, it doesn't matter how good or bad your flooring is. It doesn't matter if you spend $1,500 or $3,500 on your floor. If it's not installed by people that know what the heck they're doing, you're not going to get the result the product was engineered to produce. So we make sure that our people not only get hired and trained appropriately, but that there's constant oversight to make sure that they're doing the right things, that they're installing in the right ways, so our product can provide you all the results that you hope for. So those are our 4 C's. Do you have any questions at all about what that means, or, potentially what that would mean to you if you were to become a client of ours?
So I've got a question.
Go for it.
As far as the oversight of the project, how involved are we in that, or is that not at all?
So are you the homeowner, or are you the design consultant?
I'm actually the person who just sold you something. And then now what I'm worried about is, hey, is what I just sold what I promised to deliver? Does that make sense?
Let me try to frame this up. So if you have a question that's relevant to like our role playing,
Mm-hmm.
like you're a homeowner, right? Like I'm speaking
Yeah.
to the 4 of y'all as homeowners. Thank you.
Okay.
Ask that, right? For the sake of role playing. If you have a tech, like if your question is, hey, I'm a design consultant, how do I service my clients after the sale? Or do I have to manage the project? Write that down and we'll address it after this. Is that fair?
Okay. Didn't mean to go off on a tangent.
No,
Sorry.
you're good. I don't understand your question fully, so I'm just trying to understand so I can help help maybe guide the situation a little bit here.
He's asking as Eric to you, like how involved is he after the sale?
Well, are you Eric the homeowner or Eric the design consultant?
Design consultant.
The design consultant.
Yeah, so write that question down. It's a good question and we'll talk about it. In fact, we won't even need to talk about it because I'm going to answer it here in about 5-6 slides.
Oh, sorry, jump
No,
ahead.
you're good. So as I ask you questions, like as a homeowner, feel free to chime in with real homeowner questions, right? You guys are new to this. You're just like going to see a client today, right? Because you haven't been through this. So if you have a real life question, ask it.
Yeah. So
as far as a
how
homeowner
involved-
perspective, if you have a DC question, write it down and we'll address it afterwards. Sorry, what were you saying, John?
well, I was gonna be a homeowner for a second,
Yeah.
but I was gonna ask, so how involved are you? But you're gonna explain that anyway, so I won't jump ahead on your screen. Go ahead.
That's a good question. Ask it.
Okay, so Ryan, I know you're here to make your sale, but how involved will you be in the process? Will I be seeing you during the installation? Who will be managing the job?
Yeah, that's a great question, John. And we're going to talk about that in about 35 seconds. So I promise I will answer that for you. Remember, this is a quagmire, right? He's doing exactly what I drew on the board and showed y'all. He's trying to get me out here. John, that's a great question, man. And, I promise here in about a minute and a half, maybe we're going to address that question for you 100%. And then if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer it fully so you get a good understanding. And one more thing you said, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to give you some great information on what we do. And if you like it, man, I'd love to have you as a client, but don't misunderstand what I'm doing here today. I'm here to do way more than just sell you something. Is that cool? You good with that? That, we'll address that in about a minute and a half here. And then if you still have that question, I'll cover it for you.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Great. So, one other thing that is super important to us is our promise. And this is, we were so bold with this. We did a radio campaign about 7 years ago now, where Scott actually went on the radio and said what you see on that little ribbon down there. And he said on the radio, if you can find a siding and window contractor with better credentials, we'll do your project for free.
Whoa.
It's pretty bold. This was before we did flooring. Like I said, this was a while ago. But it goes to show you our commitment to, we are going to be the best.
Excellent.
We want to be the best no matter what it is that we do.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We didn't do any projects for free, obviously, because nobody had better credentials. So these promises
awesome.
here that you see on this page, I'm not going to read them all. I just want to share one of my favorites with you. And just sidebar, y'all can pick whatever is your favorite. But my favorite in this industry, because construction is not a perfect science. There's always gray area in construction. There's always things that come up midstream that we couldn't have predicted. It just wasn't possible. So my favorite thing, that really resonates with me and being a representative of this company is that we strive to resolve any issue. It's the top one in the middle column there. We strive to resolve any issue that may arise in such a way that you only remember how well it was resolved. That's important. I have a lot of clients. I've been doing this a long time. I have thousands and thousands of clients. That's what allows me to go to bed at night, knowing that I'm with the right company, because no matter what, I know my clients are going to be taken care of because of this company's commitment to doing the right thing.
That's awesome.
So do you have any questions? If you want to read all through these, you can. I think there's 10 of them or something. But these are our promises to every single one of our clients that partners with us on a project. And sometimes they want to read through them and, you know, they'll say, wow, that's impressive. But you don't want to read through all 10 of these in the home.
Okay.
Let them pick one that's your favorite after you read through them, and, you know, say it with passion, say it with conviction. That's not scripted. That one is the most important. You know, that's the most important one to me.
Okay.
So any questions about anything we talked about here? Again, as a homeowner?
No, looks good.
No? Good. All right, moving on. Okay, so now this, you know, it's a crazy industry, right? I mean, you know, when I first started here, everybody got 3 quotes. It didn't matter, right? I got 3 quotes. I got 3 quotes. Problem is this is really an old way of thinking. It's an old procurement kind of adage from companies that, you know, used to do this to buy things. And unfortunately, somehow it got transferred over to the home improvement industry. And for a long time, that was, you know, people's way of thinking. Oops, hold up. There we go. I'm trying to move our faces. It's right in the middle of the thing. So the problem, you know, the problem with the whole 3 quote thing is, okay, you got your 3 quotes. Now what the heck do you do with it? Right? The old school way of thinking when I first started with the company was like, shoot, well, you take the lowest bid, right? Because that means you're saving the most money. Well, we all know that that's not the right way to do things nowadays. So the new school way of thinking is, okay, I'm an educated consumer, right? I'm going to throw out the high one. I'm going to throw out the low one. I'm going to take the one in the middle. The problem with that kind of train of thinking is you're still making your decision based exclusively on the dollar sign. And nowadays we have way too much information at our fingertips to be forced into making a decision that way. What is the problem with doing your research on a company, having that company out, and as long as they don't disrupt what you believe or what you read to be true about them, why not make a decision and go with that company? All these companies that you see listed over here, Amazon, Nextdoor, Angie's List, now it's just called Angie, Google, Yelp, Home Advisor, all those places exist because we as a society have realized that there is incredible, like tremendous value in leveraging the experiences of others, which is great news for you because you don't have to waste your time having 3 companies come out. All you got to do is do a little research online and you'll be able to see which the best company is for you. So that's what we challenge people. We've seen this evolve tremendously in this industry over the last, 20 years or so. And it more and more at an incredible rate. Online research, people are doing more and more before we even get to the home. And the whole I have to get 3 quotes thing is becoming less and less of a thing. So I just wanted to share that with you. And again, if you can save your time by doing a little research and picking the contractor you want to work with and just meeting with that one, doesn't that make more sense in your busy schedule and your busy life? You don't want to spend 3 nights, 4 nights out of your week visiting with contractors. Who wants to do that? So I just wanted to share that with you again, just from industry information. Now we're going to look at some of our counterparts in the industry and see what they have to say about us. I'd be naive to say that this isn't a job interview, right? I'm interviewing for a job with you. So it'd be silly for me to show up without a resume. So that's what this is. It's not meant to be boastful or bragging. But I do want to share, what some of the other, recognizable people in the industry are saying about us. Now, James Hardy, I know we're not talking about siding. I know we're talking about flooring. So don't think I'm trying to get you sideways here. But 4 years in a row, we have been named a top 10 contractor in the entire country with James Hardy. So what that really is meant to do is speaks to the consistency across all of our scopes of work. With Angie, we are Super Service Award recipients 13 years in a row. Remodeling Magazine. Have you ever heard of Remodeling Magazine?
Yeah.
Some people have, some people haven't, but it is the people magazine of the home improvement industry. There is no, more widely read or trusted periodical or magazine than Remodeler Magazine. Every year, they put out a list of top 500 contractors in the entire country. The last 4 years, we've been named the #1 remodeler in San Antonio, according to that nationwide publication. This isn't San Antonio remodeler or South Texas remodeler. This is national. Okay, so that speaks to our consistency. It speaks to our formula. We have a way of, servicing people to give them an exceptional result. Now, the last thing I'm going to share with you is guild quality. You probably haven't heard of guild quality unless you've had, a major home improvement project done and a contractor that cared enough about what you have to say. Guild quality is the nationwide leader in surveying homeowners that have had home improvement projects done. Okay, so you're going to get a survey after our visit today, because we want to know, even if you don't become a client, we want to know, how did we do? What we found out in all the years that we've been with Guild Quality and all the surveys, thousands upon thousands of surveys that have gone out, from every one of our clients, we have a 98.7% approval rating. I mean, I'd challenge you to go on Yelp and look at your favorite restaurant. Your favorite restaurant probably doesn't have a 98.7% approval rating. You just can't make everybody happy all the time. That's just not reality. But we work very hard to do that, as reflected in that 98.7%. With Guild Quality, out of all the members of their organization, we've received the Guild Master with Distinction Award the last 14 years. And that means basically we were in the top 3% of all contractors based on that 98.7% homeowner satisfaction rating. So we're in some pretty elite company, and they've recognized us accordingly with that Guild Master with Distinction. Now, since 2015, we've taken that up a notch. We've been a top 10 remodeling firm in the entire country, not just in the top 3%, but one of the top 10 based on our 98.7% homeowner satisfaction rating. So again, I go over that, again, it is my resume. It is our company's resume. I don't mean to be boastful or bragging in any way, but can you get a sense of, the type of company we are, and, maybe the type of experience that you would have if you became a client of ours?
Definitely.
I mean, do you have any reason to doubt that you would not fall into that 98.7%?
No.
Okay, good. Excellent. Well, thanks for going through that with me. I appreciate it. Now, we have over 20,000 clients. I think it's probably closer to 24,000 at this point. As I mentioned, as we just looked at, 98% all-time approval rating. The interesting thing to tie back to that whole 3-quote conversation we just had a few minutes ago, 80% of our clients, when we sat down and really took a hard look at our client base, 80% of our clients chose to work with us during their initial appointment. And that's gone up significantly over the last 2 to 3 years. So there very much is a changing of the tide in the home improvement industry because of all of these, websites that we just talked about. And I'm not going to share all of these with you, but what I want to do is, this is Google. So I just clicked on that link. It's it's just a hyperlink. This is real time as of right now. And you can see, and if what I'll do sometimes, pull out your phone for me. Or if there's iPads right there, which it commonly is, or a laptop, pull out, I just want you to know that this information is legitimate. Pull out your phone, Google, go to Google and put in Southwest Exteriors. I just want you to see that I'm not dealing with fabricated information here. So 811 Google reviews, 4.9 stars. What's pretty cool is I think it was like last October, November, we got news from Google that we were the most highly reviewed, meaning quantity, and the highest rated home improvement company in all of San Antonio. So that was pretty exciting for us. Now, all of these, just sidebar, stop role playing for a second. All of these are linked to the appropriate review platform.
Okay.
So if somebody says, which you will see a lot with flooring, is they hit us up on Facebook, because we're doing a crap ton of marketing on Facebook for flooring. So if they said, I saw you on Facebook, guess what? Go to Facebook. Hey, let me ask you, John, when you saw us on Facebook, was this what you saw? 4.8 stars with 95 reviews?
That's why I called you.
Excellent. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So it's confirmation that, oh, this guy isn't giving me bogus information, or he didn't create his own landing page to make it look better than it is. So wherever they heard about us, that's where you go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So all of these are hyperlinked. I never take anybody through all of these, but take them to where they heard about us. The guild quality is a good one if they didn't hear about us through Google. So look at this, John, 2342 reviews, 5 stars. And remember the 4 C's I told you about? They're kind of like peppered in here. Likely to recommend, 98%. Overall experience, 98%. Problem resolution, 97%. Communication, 96%. This is a heat map of all our clients, and check this out. These are real life, updated, real-time reviews. So even a 4 stars here, I don't know what happened with June. I've already recommended Southwest Exteriors several times. Maybe she's just a hard grader. Maybe she's a teacher, who knows? But the point is that she's given us 4 stars and she's already passed our name out several times. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. I mean, we could do this all day long.
Mm.
And the important thing is look at this, 2342 reviews. I have them read that usually. How many reviews do we have there? Can you see? And have them read it, have them verbalize it. We're not talking about 3 people.
I got a blank screen.
Yeah,
Oh,
me too.
now I'm in.
Oh, you didn't see the guild quality?
No, I never.
No, yeah, I couldn't see it either, but I
Oh,
mean,
that sucks. Shoot. Let me send it to y'all because it's powerful, man. You know what? You'll see it when you get your presentation. But it's a legitimate. All these are hyperlinked to. Sharing is paused. That's why. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing about doing it on a Mac instead of a. You got my screen now, though, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So remind me to share that with you because these screens are crazy powerful. And what you saw, if some of you Googled us, what you saw is exactly what I'm showing you. So that is powerful to see. Oh yeah, your screen matches my screen. I guess you're giving me good info.
Mm.
But you will use guild quality and Google and Facebook the most, probably in that order. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, now this is my favorite part, and this is really what sets us apart from other companies, is we have the infrastructure that other companies either can't or don't invest in. And I don't know why those look so pixelated. I don't know what's going on there. And really the reason we have that infrastructure is for only one reason. That's to make sure that you have a good experience all the way through and you don't have to manage your own project. So our clients at Southwest Exteriors, they have a dedicated project manager, Chris Garrity, that his sole purpose is to manage the project, manage the crews, so you don't have to.
Okay.
Michelle Hodgkiss, she's our client experience champion. Chris has been with us for 3 years now. Michelle's been with us for going on 9 years. Michelle's only role is to interact and interface with our clients every day, all day. She's on the phone constantly, letting our clients know about installation dates, keeping them updated on any kind of product changes. So she is there to be that contact person that is in constant communication with every single one of our clients. And then the third person that's going to be responsible for the successful execution of your job is Ana Garcia. She's been here 13 years, and she is our installation department administrator. So she is basically kind of Chris's supervisor and Michelle's supervisor. She runs the entire installation team. So that's those are the people that are going to bat for you. Those are the people that have a hand in making sure that your project, and more importantly, your experience with us, is a 5-star experience. Any questions about any of that? Chris, you will see face-to-face. Michelle, you will talk to. Anna's kind of the person with the strings in the background controlling everything behind the curtain. So you wouldn't interface with her necessarily, but Chris, you will see. Michelle, you will talk to. And Anna is the one in the background making everything tick. Any questions on any of that?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Sure.
As far as like, you know, once you've got that commitment to value and you've, you know, they basically said, let's go ahead and do it. When they want a time frame of when you can start, how does that work?
Yeah, so write that question down.
Okay,
So remember, we talked about any questions you have right now are like homeowner questions. If you have like practical
Oh.
salesperson questions, write them down and we'll address them at the end.
okay, sorry.
You're good. Any other homeowner questions?
Okay, so Ryan, I won't be seeing you through the process. Chris will be taking over.
Yeah, so here, that's a great question. At any point in time, and should you become a client, you will have my cell phone number and you will have 100%, access to me at any point in time. But you don't want me out installing your floor. That would be a bad outcome. So we have people in specific roles because that's what they're gifted at. My gifting is not installing the floor. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, we're big enough to where I need to be doing what I'm gifted at for this company. So at any point in time, and installations typically with these type of projects are a day. So at any given day, me coming out to your house is not conducive to my schedule. Plus, there's nothing I could really do for you. Because like I said, if I install your floor, you're going to want a refund. So what I will promise you is that at any point in time you want to talk to me, you can call me, you can text me. I will be back in touch with you to follow up after the project's been installed. But that's why Chris and Michelle are kind of like, they're taking the baton from me to make sure that they do what they do exceptionally, to make sure you have an exceptional experience. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. So no other questions, John, let me ask you, based on all that we just looked at, what our clients have had to say over the last 30 years and our reputation in the community, do you believe that we could accomplish this project for you to your 100% and complete satisfaction?
Most definitely.
Good. Well, I appreciate that. So that's where you ask your commitment question to trust.
Good.
So when you see the faces, okay, it's commitment to trust time.
Gotcha.
And then guess where we're going to go? And I don't know why that picture isn't popping up. So thank you very much. I appreciate the trust and confidence you have in the company. What we're going to do now, we're going to switch gears a little bit and we're going to take a look at the product specifically. Okay. Now, have you heard of epoxy?
Yes.
Okay, most people have, and sometimes that's why they call us, because they think we do epoxy. But I'm here to share with you some of the significant differences between polyurea and epoxy, so you know better how to make your decision of which one you want. We don't offer epoxy, we only offer Ptek, which is the polyurea polyaspartic blend. So some of the benefits as you look at and kind of compare and contrast the two, polyurea or Ptek is a one-day installation versus 3+ days for epoxy, which for you, for the homeowners, an entire convenience thing. So you don't have to keep all your junk out of your garage for 3 days. Ptek is 98% more flexible than epoxy, which, as you know, here in San Antonio, things get dry, it shifts. Things get wet, it shifts. Your garage floor is not immune to that. So the fact that this is 98% more flexible is significant because it's going to stay where it's put on the floor instead of getting brittle and cracky.
Okay.
Our flooring product is 4 times stronger than epoxy. It has 2 times better adhesion. And the really cool thing, who doesn't get a new toy and, doesn't want to play with it as soon as possible? With this product, you can walk on it within 4 hours. Within 24 hours, all your equipment, your workbenches, your cars, all of that can come back in the garage.
Awesome.
Which is significant here. So it's not baking out in the sun or the, 2 weeks out of the year where it's cold, freezing. So you get the stuff back in your garage so it's not exposed to the elements. Any questions on that?
Pretty straightforward. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, so just a couple other differences here. And you know, that picture, by the way, that's a real deal, you know, DIY picture that we got from a client that I saw a couple years back. They'd done it themselves. They went to, you know, whatever, Home Depot, Lowe's, it doesn't matter. And they did it themselves. And this was what it looked like 3 years, 4 years post install.
Mm.
So again, some of the other differences here, Ptek, you know, or epoxy, excuse me, never fully cures like Ptek or polyurea. Epoxy chips and flakes, and in what we found from our clients in you know, our 6 years of doing this, generally, if you're using your garage as a garage and not just some place to walk or hang out, if you're pulling cars in, if you're moving lawn mowers in, if you know, you're doing stuff in your garage, generally the lifespan on epoxy is, you know, about 3 to 4 years. Epoxy doesn't flex like the concrete, or flex with the concrete like polyurea, which is what we just looked at with the 98%. And there's no epoxy that is UV stable like polyurea. Epoxy, because of the adhesives, it is very prone to yellowing and discoloration in the sunlight, especially in UV light. So we'll talk about it in just a little bit here, but the warranty on the Ptek product is lifetime on coloration from the manufacturer. So it's guaranteed for its lifespan not to yellow or discolor.
Okay.
So just a few more differences for you there. Any questions that you have on that?
What does a UV stable mean?
Just that it won't yellow or fade like an epoxy based product.
Okay. All right, I'm good on it.
Good. So these are all real deal. You know, these are either DIY or, you know, company put down epoxy projects. And these are real life pictures, and you can see exactly where the tire marks, you know, if you're driving 45 minutes when it's 102 degrees out and you're driving fast 45 minutes home, man, those tires smoking hot. So what happens, you come in your garage, you're coming home for the day, you know, hopefully you get to relax a little bit and chill out. What happens when you back out of the garage in the morning, some of that coating is going with your car tires. And it's a little each day. But these are real life pictures from homeowners that had us out because they did not like this coating that they had put down. And don't get me wrong, man. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be nowhere close in my price to what you could go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy some of the floor in a can stuff and put it down yourself. But that's what you have to consider is how long do you want it to last? How long do you want this to work?
Mm-hmm.
This is another big deal with epoxy based, because epoxy is really no different than like you painting the wall in your house. It's a topically applied product. Concrete has a bunch of moisture in it.
Mm.
So if you're putting epoxy down on a newly poured foundation or just in general, a high moisture content concrete, it will bubble or blister as that moisture starts to come to the surface. So another thing that you just need to be wary of if you are thinking of going the epoxy route, some potential problems that may arise. And, you know, another point here, remember that little device? I told you it was like an $800 device that I put down on the concrete and it gave me a reading.
Mm-hmm.
That tests the moisture for us. So I know before I even think about, you know, offering our product to you, I know if your floor is suitable for our product to be applied on. That's why we do the scratch test to determine the hardness. And that's why I put that funky little device on the concrete to make sure that it wasn't too high of a moisture content for our product. We generally don't find, and as you kind of mentioned to me when you were like, what the heck are you doing to my floor? We generally don't find that people are doing that, which is an awful big, you know, it's a huge risk because this could happen. Okay, just more of the same here. You know, it's just, this was a traffic area. Cars came right in, pulled the concrete coating up, and this is what we got.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty
Brett,
cool little test. I'm sorry, did you have some?
Yeah, just from a homeowner perspective, how often do you have to walk away from a job just because you're like too much moisture or concrete's doesn't have the integrity to,
For us to apply it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question. It doesn't happen often. I mean, maybe, we do a lot of these projects, maybe once a month.
Okay.
So it's not often, but what I can assure you is if we have a surface that is too moist or too soft and we can't fix it through a couple things that we can do usually to fix it, then we will absolutely do the right thing, and we would never enter into a project that we can't assure 100% success with.
Hey, that's good to know.
So this is the next thing that's really cool. It kind of helps give you some insight as to why. But there's this strength test. There's this crazy little device here. You put it down, it pulls on a square inch of the surface. And that little thing on top, you turn that to apply the pressure on the surface. What we found is with the Ptek product, that can go down and it can hold to 650 pounds per square inch.
Oh.
That's like off the charts compared to, regular just epoxy. And what we found is as we increased that, it actually pulled up the concrete below it instead of pulling the coating off the top of it. And that's what you see in that last picture.
Okay.
So the reason it's able to do that is because that polyurea that's your base coat, it actually seeks out and it bonds to the moisture in the concrete. It's not just like a paint you would put on the wall.
Okay.
So that's why, people are, well, why is it better? Well, it's polyurea instead of epoxy. Okay, but why? This is why. This is why we have unmatched adhesion and the longevity and durability that we can provide our clients with this product that you just can't get with any other product.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No, but that's pretty good.
Good. All right, so this thing kind of off role play. If you have clients with a bunch of cracks, you're going to camp out here. If not, and I'll do it both ways for you, it's quick. If you don't have clients, or if you have a client that doesn't have any pitting or cracking in their concrete, then we're good to go. We tell two different stories. If we have somebody with cracking and pitting, we're going to do this. So now, John, you remember when I was taking you kind of on a little tour of your garage?
Right, the inspection.
We saw those cracks, and some of them I told you were bigger than a credit card. Remember, we looked at them and we both confirmed that, yeah, they're bigger than a credit card.
Yeah.
Those cracks we can fix instead of you having to call out a concrete guy to like skim coat or, to do a whole surface prep. We can fix those with a specific product that we have.
Okay.
All the other cracks that we saw out in the garage that were less than a credit card, those don't matter. They're going to go away once we do the grinding process that I'll share with you here in just a second. But those couple, you had about 25 feet that was wider than a credit card. We're going to fix that 25 feet for you, so you don't have to spend $2,000-$3,000 having a concrete company come out here and skim coat it for you.
What am I paying extra?
I can look at your project specifically, but it's probably about $120.
Good deal.
So this product that we have, it is a proprietary product, just like the flooring. It's called Mender. So we're going to go and pour this Mender. It's one of the first things we're going to do. Pour the Mender in all of those cracks that are wider than a credit card. And we're going to let that sit for about 20 minutes. It's self-leveling, and it cures all by itself without the means of any additional heat or anything else. So we're going to let that sit up first. We're going to start grinding the rest of the floor. And then we're going to come back to this area and make sure that we grind down kind of like a dentist filling a cavity. We're going to, fill it, grind it down to make sure it's proper, and then fill it any additional if we need to. Generally, the first time it is, just the way we need it. Okay, but any pitting in the concrete, like you see in this picture, this is drastic. But any pitting or imperfections in the concrete, we're going to do the same thing with this mender.
Okay.
So by doing that, we save you time, because obviously it's, nobody that is decent in home improvement is not busy right now. So if you were to call a concrete guy out, you're probably going to wait at least 3, 4, 5 weeks. Plus you're going to spend $2 to $3 grand to get this re-skim coated. So we're saving you time and money by using this product, and we're seamlessly going to be able to fix it on the day of install.
Cool.
So that's what we tell somebody that has cracks. If they don't have cracks, hey, fortunately for you, your floor is in amazing shape. So we don't even need to talk about this, but if you did have cracks, we have this amazing product that we're able to fill it and seal it within 20 minutes. So you don't have to have the burden of the extra time and expense of having a concrete guy come out and fix your floor first.
All
We'll
right.
just move on. Okay, so this is the cool part. This is where I get to show you how this actually goes on installation day. So we bring in this big old 650-pound piece of equipment. You see all those hoses, there's vacuums. So we can generally manage about 90 to 95% of the dust that's kicked up from us tearing off that top coat of your floor. Now, 90 to 95% sounds good, but it's a lot of dust and it's a lot of grinding. There will be dust in your garage, your back patio, your whatever. So we're going to make a really strong effort to clean that up, but I don't want to set any false expectations in you thinking that there's not going to be any dust kicked up in the air during this process. It will happen, guaranteed. So this is the large, the hand grinder, or excuse me, the floor grinder that I told you about. If you look against the wall there, you can see that small little 4 or 5 inch vertical. We do all those smaller areas with those hand grinders. Okay. So you have any questions about how that, how we profile the floor? But each one of these things has like 12 diamond head. And we have some of these, I have these to give to you so you can show them in the home, but they're about $1,000 each. And these diamond head grinders are what we use to profile your floor.
Okay.
So any questions about that first step?
No,
Great.
that looks pretty good.
Yeah. Second thing we do is we take that pure concrete now that we've created and we apply the polyurea base coat. And as we talked about, we roll it, we brush it on all the small little areas, the crevices, all surfaces, vertical, horizontal, everywhere that we're applying flake is going to get coated with the polyurea. And again, this is a patented base coat, just like the product itself. And all of this has to go down before we start putting on the chips. So every single place, hands and knees, kind of back-breaking work, but we get down on every nook and cranny and we apply this polyurea base coat.
Good.
Next thing we're going to do is put down those chips. So that all the fun we had picking that color, this is where that's going to be applied. So these are put on to rejection, which means we put them down so thick that the floor can't hold anymore, right? We're just putting chip on chip at that point. Absolutely every square centimeter of this floor is covered.
Yeah.
And these go on all the vertical and horizontal surfaces. And as we talked about, it provides kind of a non-slip surface. No questions there, we're good?
That looks
So,
good.
yeah, I've got a question.
Sure.
So what makes it non-slip? Let's say that, there's some water or something in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so these flakes are providing, they do a couple things, honestly. One, they make it look good, right? Because nobody would just want bare concrete shiny. So they give it some coloration, but they also give it texture, right? So it's a surface that has texture now. It's not smooth, and it hides any kind of swales or unevenness in the concrete. But those flakes actually provide traction. Now, if you want it, we have this shark bite stuff we can put down that's almost like a sand material. It doesn't change the color of the flooring, but it will give you additional traction if you think you need it. We generally only use it on outdoor surfaces.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is because my last house, we had a pool.
Uh-huh.
And when the boys would play in it, there was a certain area on the patio that would just turn to like ice.
Yeah.
And you literally just walk over there and just slip and fall. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the
But-
chip is meant to do, is provide some traction. And then on any kind of pool deck, we would absolutely put down that shark bite stuff to make sure that there's really good traction out there.
okay, great.
All right, so now, next thing we do is we're gonna scrape down and vacuum up all that excess chip that we put down. Okay, now that scraping is important because these chips, they are acrylic and they will stand up almost like a shark fin. They'll stand up completely rigid. And they will, sure enough, if you run your foot or your hand over that, it'll slice you up really easily. So that's why we have to scrape it and vacuum up all the excess. So we can literally almost do a hands on knees inspection of every square inch to make sure that there aren't little flakes sticking up that could hurt somebody.
Okay.
Once we get done doing that and knocking everything down, sometimes we even have to get down and cut it with a razor blade because they are so rigid. So once that's all done, then we're ready for the next step, which is the top coat. And that's where the floor just starts to look brilliant at this point. I mean, it's shiny, the sheen is amazing. And we put that on with rollers and squeegees. And again, it's basically put down 2 rejections. So we're putting it on super thick to make sure that it's going to basically encapsulate that whole system.
Cool.
This is UV stable. It's non-yellowing. It's 100% antibacterial and antimicrobial. And it is rust, chemical, and abrasion resistant. You spill paint, you spill oil, you spill whatever. I have a client that's a huge, big time welder. And even his welding didn't damage the floor. And most of all, I mean, it's just easy clean. Gone are the days of power washing or, generally, unless you may have to power wash every couple of years on some, heavy traffic areas like car traffic, but everything else is just wipe up to clean. Any questions on that?
Not on that. Hey, Ryan, hate to do this. Can we take a small 5-minute break? Bathroom?
Yeah, let me see if I can pause this. How many slides? What do we got left here? Yeah, I got warranty and then some before and after stuff. Is it like emergency kind of thing? I don't want to feel like a dad on you, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me pause the recording and then we'll pick it up.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
Okay. Thank you for
Okay,
that.
go back to screen share. think this is where we left off, yeah?
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the really awesome part. You know, this is where the floor really starts to come alive, really starts to look just incredible. This is the polyaspartic being put down over the top of those chips that we just scraped down and vacuumed up. So this, like I said, the sheen really starts to show through. I mean, this is just, you know, this is the jaw dropper right here. This product is UV stable. It's non-yellowing. It's 100% antibacterial and antimicrobial. And it is rust chemical and abrasion resistant, which makes it incredibly easy to clean. So it doesn't matter what you spill on it, paint, oil, you know. Like I said, I know I already just told this, but I have a guy that's a client that's a big welder, and he said even welding isn't messing up his flooring. So it's pretty durable stuff, and definitely, you know, able to withstand the simple, you know, cars, hot tires from the car coming in and off the coating every day. So any question about that? But that really completes the process as far as the installation goes. Any questions at all about that?
There won't be any cracking in this. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I can't, you know, it's guaranteed, you know, of course, because it is a coating, it's going to be subject to whatever the garage floor is doing. So if you get a massive garage floor crack that, you know, then cracks the top coat, well, that's, you know, that's an issue of the garage floor, not the coating. Coating, you know, the coating cracking, yeah, that should not happen. If it does, it's covered under warranty. But we can't cover any kind of foundation cracks, you know, anything that could arise from that. It's, you know, that's just a risk we all take with every home we live in, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense? So any cracking, peeling, delaminating, anything that with the coating specifically is covered 100%.
Okay.
But something were to happen foundationally, or something were to happen with the actual slab, you know, obviously the coating isn't liable for that.
Okay. But the cracks that we fixed when we had some cracks going into this, if those reappear, is that an issue that is covered, or?
Yeah, if we were to fix that, you know, if we fix something and it wasn't, you know, a major issue, and it were to come back, then, you know, if it's a product of the coating, we're going to cover that. But anything that's, like I said, anything that's getting a crack, a major crack, or anything that's continuing or getting worse, you know, again, we got to have realistic expectations going in this. We can't come out and fix the slab every time something goes wrong. You know what I mean? So I would recommend, you know, if you're concerned about that, or if you have a significant crack that you think this is going to be a solution for, it's not.
Okay. So when we went into it, and you're saying that I would have to call a concrete guy, and, you know, they're set out months or whatever, would that have fixed the issue, or is your?
You know, I'm not a concrete guy, but I don't think a $2,000 fix is going to fix the issue. There's probably a bigger issue going on that's going to need to be addressed, and it's probably going to be a lot more than $2,000. But that's just my, you know, that's just my limited concrete knowledge. I'm not a concrete guy, and I don't want to pretend to be.
Okay.
So you'd have to probably call out a concrete company and see what they have to say as far as, hey, I want to fix this crack from ever showing up again. That's your concrete guy, not us.
Okay.
But, you know, generally little cracks that we fix don't ever appear again.
Yeah, I guess I'll save the question for after. Yeah.
Okay. But you want to do that. You want to be upfront and realistic with people that, hey, I'm not a concrete guy. This isn't a fix my slab product. This is an aesthetic product. I
guess if y'all see something that you don't feel comfortable just saying, hey, that we're gonna fix this, you'll know if it's a major issue, or I guess the team will know, right?
Yeah, if you don't catch it, the guys that come in after you will.
Okay.
The project manager or the installers.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at the warranty now. And this is the real deal warranty. So that you'll get a copy of this with your completion packet. And just so you know, there's, nothing implied or nothing kind of, made up here. I want to just read right off it, and that way you know exactly, specifically to the word, what the warranty is. So in number 1, you can see there, we warranty our Ptek industrial coating products will not yellow or fade due to UV rays for a lifetime of the original purchaser, and will not chip, peel, separate, or delaminate from its properly installed and prepared vertical or horizontal, interior or exterior surface for 15 years after installation. And then going down to number 2, Ptek Industrial Coatings warrants that all PIC products, which is Ptek Industrial Coatings, PIC, products will be free from defects under these conditions and will perform without failure for 15 years. Replacement is limited to original cost of materials or replacement at the choice of Ptek Industrial Coatings. Ptek Industrial Coatings sole responsibility under this warranty shall be the cost of replacement materials to fix the repair and failed areas only. So what that means is that after that warranty, this warranty kicks in. And this is the warranty that we give all 24,000 of our clients, regardless of the product that we do for them. But this is our umbrella protection that says, hey, we know you have choices. You have options. And because, you choose us, we want to thank you with the best warranty in the industry. And this warranty says that we're taking responsibility for anything we do to your home for as long as you're living there. So that 15-year warranty, now under this warranty, which you get a copy of and you get the privilege of being a Southwest Exteriors client, that 15 years has just been extended to a lifetime with the company's backing.
Cool.
So any questions about that? Any loophole or gap that you feel that you won't be protected under?
I got a question, Ryan.
Okay.
Going back to the 15-year warranty, let's say that you guys just did my garage and then 2 years later, I got a job offer I couldn't refuse and I'm going to sell my house. Is that transferable to the next owner or not?
It can be transferable. We have to make an exception for that. As it reads in the warranty, it's for the original purchaser.
Yeah, and that's what I heard. So
Yeah.
I was just curious if.
But we can
Okay.
make an exception and, that can be done. Especially if it's going to be a selling feature, we can help you with that. And we'd be glad to take care of the next owner, just as we would, take care of you.
Awesome.
So that was a great question. Any other questions that you have regarding the warranty and how you and your investment, your floor will be protected?
The first warranty, the 15-year was from Ptek?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the, okay.
So this is the Ptek. This is the Southwest Exteriors. You get both.
Great.
So all good on the warranty, no loopholes. You feel that this would protect you and your investment 100%.
100%.
Okay, good. Excellent. So this is pretty cool. And depending on, I tell the story differently because they're my client, but so we hooked up with Fiesta, Texas a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, probably. Wow. And they were just fed up. That's a huge park. They had thousands and thousands and thousands upon thousands of people walk through that park every year. So they had done the epoxies, they had done the stained concrete, and they just weren't happy. Nothing was working, and they were kind of at the end of their rope. They were just like ready to, just to throw in the towel and just leave it looking, ugly and nasty. But the president of the park saw our product advertised. I don't remember where it was. I think on radio, or heard it on radio. And he was like, you know what? That sounds interesting. So he started doing his own research. He called us out and he said, okay, I'm going to give you, of course, we didn't meet with him. We met with his maintenance staff, but he said, I'm going to give you guys a shot at this. We got an entire park here of areas that need to be coated. So he said, we're going to do Wonder Woman World. So we did Wonder Woman World, which you see on the right, and that's why the blue and the yellow and the red is a completely custom color for them. But we did Wonder Woman World and they loved it. And years went by and they still loved it. It provided them a solution for all the failed epoxy. 2, 3, 4 times they'd done epoxy, all the concrete staining that they tried 2, 3, 4 times. This was the one product out of all those times that actually worked. So they were all in. We did the bathrooms. We did the Wonder Woman World bathrooms, which you see happening there. We did, I mean, since that day, 5 years ago or so, we've done, I think, every restroom in the park, and I still have about probably $180,000 worth of bids that they're just waiting to do as the funds become available.
Jeez.
So for a residence, if someone like Fiesta, Texas, that you will never have as much traffic in your garage as they get in one season, for somebody like them to trust the product and really find that it's the only one that works for them, I think would say that you could probably trust this to work in your garage or your back patio or your pool deck. No?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So it's a pretty awesome thing. It was a great thing for us that out of all the flooring companies in San Antonio, they chose us. But we have an amazing relationship with them. So let me ask you before we go on to look at some cool before and after pictures. Let me ask you based on everything that we just looked at, do you believe that Ptek flooring will meet or exceed all of your expectations and provide you with the solutions you're hoping for?
Definitely.
So this
I think
is the
so.
actual flooring that you would like installed in your garage?
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. So we just did our commitment to resolution, right?
Right.
And now it's just before and afters. So now I'm just going to show you some really cool pictures. And of course, if the lady's there, you're going to let her pretty much run the show here and stay on these as long as she wants. But it's just some really awesome, and just talk, man, look at this. I mean, that goes from looking like a garage to it looks like it could be a room in the house. Just the color, that old dingy, kind of looks like an old tooth, right? And then we put that flooring down, it brightens up the whole area. It's like getting your teeth whitened.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. This was our first like really, really super duper custom job. And as you can see, he had some pretty nasty cracks, a lot of pitting. Yeah. And we fixed all that, gave him a custom logo, he did a custom color. You can't really see it, but that's the domino color with the Harley orange sprinkled in it. And up close, it looks incredible.
So the logo, how does that part work?
We have a logo dealer that we refer people to so they can go pick whatever frick logo they want, like it's big, small, color, whatever. We don't want to get involved in that because that's just a mess. But the people go pick the logo, they pay for it, they bring it back to us, and we put it in there.
Very cool.
Got it.
So this was pretty awesome. This was probably this was our first run at a really, really super duper like custom job.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Driveways, walkways, outdoor, indoors, front yard, backyard. There's really no limitation to where this product can go.
Okay.
But you just look at, look at how nice that makes the front of the house look as compared to just normal dingy concrete.
Yeah.
Back patios, porches. One thing I want to show you, like, take a look at the kind of the rounded edge, kind of the bullnose deal on the picture to the right.
Yeah, I see it.
So take note how we didn't just stop at the top, right? We went down into the grass line to make sure that looks complete. We didn't just stop there, kind of do a crappy job of, making that kind of look like it was finished. We went all the way down into that grass line to make it look like it should look.
Yeah. Cool.
And again, more and more we're doing inside of people's homes. It's crazy, but it's happening. Walkways, pool decks. We're starting to do more and more pool decks, which, you know, again, just radically changes the look of the pool deck. Cracks, you know, this lady didn't have to have a concrete person out to fix her concrete. We were able to do it with that mender material.
Very cool.
And, you know, great for outdoor kitchens, that kind of thing. Great, you know, we did this massive dance hall.
Man, that place is huge.
Yeah. So again, you know, was that valuable? Was that helpful for you? Again, regardless of if you go with us or not, just for the sake of this process that you're going through right now, trying to decide on this project, was that helpful for you?
Oh, definitely.
Good. Well, that's my intention. So that's basically how you shut it down.
Okay.
So that's it. Again, we went a little bit long. I don't even know what the timing was on it. We took our time with it. We answered questions, but I was giving you the full expanded, you know, director's version. I wasn't, you know, cutting it or skipping slides or doing a half-assed job on the slides. Like, that's how they should, you know, if you want somebody if you have somebody that wants all that information, give it to them.
Yeah. I think that Fiesta, Texas was a huge,
Man, that's cool.
yeah. I mean, that's like, hey man, we got the most highly trafficked place in the city, you know, and trusting us,
Yep.
you know, with a lifetime warranty.
And since we did that 5 years ago, I mean, there are 3-4 times as many flooring companies now as there were then. They've never once said, well, we had these other guys come out and they're cheaper. Not once have they done that to me. And it's because they love the product, they love us, and we bend over backwards for
Y'all ever done any of the car dealerships?
them. I was just talking to Dwayne about one. He was quoting one, it was like 36 grand and the guy wanted 25. So I'm in the process of talking to Dwayne about that one and seeing what we can do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
We've bid a lot of them, but again, our price point, they're not always willing to pay it, even though they realize it's a better thing.
I mean, yeah.
Well, just do the Foursquare thing that they like to teach their car salesmen to them. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Really, they just always take it back to monthly payment.
Yeah, exactly. Give them the payment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
So what questions, we went through that. I want to talk about what questions, and then I want to take a quick lunch break. My girls brought me a sandwich a while ago, so I want to throw that down real quick after we go through questions, but I'll keep recording. Let me get out of here. Just FYI, since we're in here, I added some slides when I built this, just so you have all the colors right here.
Okay.
And then we took actual pictures, and this is what we needed to do when we were doing virtuals, when we weren't at people's homes. We had to have some way to show a bigger picture of what the colors look like.
And you said we'll have some samples with us?
Yeah, you'll have your actual samples, but these are pictures of those samples because we weren't going out to people's homes.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
Or is what you're showing us right now, are these like the standards?
Yeah, these aren't customs. These are all standard.
Okay. But we could go like, I mean, in reality, can we basically match whatever color palette that they're interested in? If
Whatever you want, man. There's this website we have, it's called colorflakes.com.
Okay.
And you can go on there and go crazy. That's
cool.
where we got that cherry bomb, you know, that one I showed y'all.
That red garage, yeah.
Dig that.
So I'm still recording just for the sake of having some good questions that future people may have. What questions do y'all have from just more of a DC perspective? You asked some good homeowner questions.
Okay, I'll start. And back to what I asked you, and he said, hold that thought.
Yeah.
Is like, when can you start? if the client agrees to go ahead and,
It varies.
Go
So
with
every
it.
Monday when I have the TLC meeting, which is like the leadership team of the company, every Monday we do that at 8:30, and I get lead times that are updated real time as of that Monday, and immediately I text them out to the team. And that way, before you roll into a 10 o'clock appointment, you know exactly for every product we sell what the updated lead time is as of that Monday.
okay, yeah. And then, are all installs done in one day?
No, we can do, what is it? I think we can do up to about 1,000. That's all right. I think we can do 1,000, about 1,000 is our threshold for one day, 1,000 square feet. Beyond that, generally, I mean, a easy, 2 cars, easy day job. Unless there's some crazy stuff, a generally simple 3-car garage can maybe even be done in a day.
Okay.
But if you get into some crazy, bigger garages, or there's multi-levels or whatever, then it becomes a 2-day.
Got it. Okay, and then the only other thing I was curious about is, if you saw my garage, I'd be embarrassed because it's a mess. But is it on the homeowner to move everything out before you come out?
It's a great question. Yes, it is. We do rare, kind of exceptions where we'll help somebody if it's like an old lady or an old guy and they can't do it. But you got to think, I mean, that's such a burden on our installation teams because
Sure.
it could double the time of the job, easily.
Totally get it.
Yeah, and it's a liability, absolutely.
They break something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got to be very careful. But most people get a U-Haul or get pods.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a good thing to say, John. I think, like, is that the correct kind of response when they were like, well, why don't you do that? You're like, it's more of a
Liability issue.
yeah, we would hate to start off moving something and accidentally breaking something before we even get going, or how would you say that?
Yeah, we'd love to be able to do that for you. We've looked into it, as providing that as an additional service, but the logistics and the liability of it at this time, just especially as hard as labor is to find right now, it just doesn't make sense for us to do it.
Okay. Gotcha. I think people get that.
Yeah. Yeah, because usually, I mean, every other company's doing the same thing. So it's not like we're the standout. I'd love for us to be able to do that as a service. I mean, that would be, hey, $400, $500, we'll come in and, take out all your crap and put it back in when you're done. I think we could sell that all day long. It's just hard finding people to do that for us.
Yeah, I'd pay that in a minute.
I know.
Yeah, there's people that do it, like the content, they handle contents, all that
Yeah.
storage.
Okay. I had a question about the warranty from a DC perspective, like the warranties. Obviously, if something happens with their foundation, that's crazy. I mean, it is what it is. That's not on us. But there is a certain amount of wear and tear that everything's going to see over the years. So I'm trying to understand what that threshold is in case someone dig into it a little more with me, how to, at what point is it normal wear and tear? And at what point are we like, oh yeah, we should fix that? Or are we just kind of like, you know what, we're going to fix it for you because we told you we would?
Yeah. I mean, anytime it's a default or a defect of the product, we are most definitely going to fix it.
Absolutely.
Other than that, we'd have to look at it and, well, are you jackhammering in here? It's like, there's always stupid things, right? So we just have to look at it. And honestly, it sounds crazy. Most people, because they know who we are before they call us out, they're not worried about it.
Okay.
Hey, I know you guys, I know you're going to do the right thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And then I just also like to have my verbiage kind of how to address it if it does come to that.
It's a great question. don't get me wrong. It's hard to answer in a way that's, all encompassing everything, you know?
I get you. I get you. So it's kind of like, hey, if there's something that goes faulty with the product, absolutely that's covered. Otherwise, if it's normal kind of wear and tear stuff, we just proceed on a case by case basis, but we're gonna definitely take care of you.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay.
Yep. We will be
Yeah,
here
I
for
like
you.
that, Rob.
Go ahead.
No, I see where you're going with that, Rob, and you don't want to deliver any false promises
That's what I'm-
to a client.
That's what.
So we have a saying here, and I think I coined this, I don't know, but I haven't heard it before. It's just, it really is even though it sounds crazy, it really is the truth of our business and something that y'all need to remember and, you know, plant your flag in.
Okay.
Is the best thing that we can do for somebody is tell them something they don't want to hear.
Okay.
Because too many times, what do salespeople do? Oh yeah, we'll do that. No, absolutely. If you don't like your floor in 3 years, we'll come out and put down a new floor for you. That's what people expect salespeople to do, is right? Like lie, cheat, and steal.
Yeah.
We don't ever do that.
Okay.
It's not acceptable. So for us, the mentality is, you know, you want to earn somebody's respect. You want to earn credibility. Tell them something they don't want to hear, because that's the last thing they expect. And every time, I promise you, they'll thank you for it.
Okay.
Even if they're not happy about it, you know, thanks for being honest with me. It's not what I wanted to hear, but thank you for not lying. They'll say that every single time. I promise.
Okay.
Which is what I did with you guys when you asked me about the cracking and stuff. I was honest. I didn't sugarcoat it or manipulate it. I told you something you didn't want to hear, where this isn't a solution to fix a foundation.
Yeah. Gotcha. Cool.
But they will thank you every single time for telling them the truth, and it will most likely win you the business.
Awesome.
What other questions?
Yep, those are mine as well.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
Sandwich time?
Huh? Yeah, I'll probably do a little 15-minute deal. That was really the bulk of what I wanted to get to. I'm going to upload this. I have a YouTube learning channel, sales team learning channel. There's, I think, this will be 33 or 34 videos on there. So I'm going to invite y'all to that. I'll do it to your personal email right now, because your work emails are set up, but you don't have them, obviously. But there's a ton of information on there, and I'll send this to you, but it will also be in the learning library.
Okay. Cool.
But it takes a little while to upload, so I'll get that in there for you so y'all can see it. But this is really what you're going to be doing, you know, how much ever you want to work on it over the weekend. And then starting next week, after we do the run through of the methodology agenda all the way to value, we'll get into this some.
Okay.
And none of that stuff, like, I don't want you to script this. What I'm saying are the important parts of the slides that you need to know and you need to communicate to people. But as long as you're hitting on the parts and not diminishing or diluting the message, I mean, I really don't care what you say or how you say it. I want it to be your own, but you need to communicate the message that you heard on each one of those slides from me.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So even though we did that for whatever it was, 30, 40 minutes or something, I don't want you to get freaked out like, oh my God, I got 4 minutes of stuff to remember. I want you to make it your own, but I don't want to feel like it's a diminished or diluted message. You know, you have to hit on the important parts.
Okay.
Yeah, you got Randy Carroll on your
On
YouTube.
the company one?
Concrete coating with Randy